Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm not going to do Krita just yet. 4.4 just got released, so I'll be making another video about that either this weekend or next. A lot's been going on, sorry this is a little late. But yeah, anyway, let's get started on this video. I'm gonna be going over time management and just my personal experience and how I've really changed my schedule and how to maintain all the projects I want to finish and everything, and what I've done the past year that's been working for me, and I kind of wanted to share that with you guys, and maybe that'll give you some ideas on how to make that work for you. So I'm going to start with the Trello board, which is free to use. You can sign up, it's free, all that fun stuff. And really you can make your own like sections here or lists and customize it to whatever you want it to be. A lot of people will use this for commission tracking, just tasks in general. Some people use it for teams. I do have one that's private for a group of artists so we can all kind of like hold each other accountable. That was the idea in the beginning, but then 2020 became 2020 and a lot of our plans fell through. But regardless, we've adapted and as time has gone on and changed it, so yeah. So this is how I set up the board that other artists have used, and this is something I've also done for myself. A lot of this was inspired by how Heart Breathings, I do recommend her channel, approaches her goals. I did break it down a little bit differently though. I don't use a Kanban board currently, which is what she uses, but this is kind of similar, and I'll start going over this now. So to start with, in the beginning of 2020, I made a yearly goal. So here I went to, let's put yearly goals, and you can go here and edit that. Oops, sorry, there's a label. Click on that, there we go. And I just made a checklist, right? We'll say it, checklist. And I put down every task that I wanted for the entire year that I wanted to accomplish. So this one, like for example, I can name this like business goals. I'll just say business. I can add another checklist here and just keep it checklist tool 2. And then that's how I did it, right? And there are a lot of goals, and obviously at the end of 2020, it's not meant for me to try and accomplish everything, but mainly as time goes on to try and tackle the ones that are most important. For example, business was important, the art goals were important, and then personal were just kind of like extra little things, like, you know, save up, or pay things down, or whatever it is, right? Nothing that had to be like super priority, but just things to keep in mind as the year went on. So those would be the yearly goals. And then the quarterly goals, we'll say quarter 1. Quarterly goals kind of go by the year. So January, February, March would be one quarter, and then so on and so forth for quarter 2, 3, and 4. So right now we're technically in quarter 4, which is October, November, December. It's the last quarter of the year. And this helped me because then I could take all those yearly goals and really break down some of them into 3 months at a time. So I would make another checklist. So let's say one of the business goals was to, I don't know, just increase products, right? And maybe I want to increase them by 5. So that means I have to make 5 new products. So that means in those 3 months, I can now keep in mind and allocate time to make 5 new products, right? So for monthly goal, if this is October, we will make the checklist, and we can even say here, brainstorm 5 products, right? So maybe in the month of October, I will sit down and take, maybe not the whole month I'll brainstorm, but I want to try and get as much of that done. And by not giving myself a set time to do it within October, that means I can take a look at my monthly goal and say, you know what, this week this is what I'm going to work on, right? Because I do have an external planner that I use, and I'll kind of sketch out what I have set up there. So this is my planner basically. So I'll have, can't make a straight line, close enough. So here it's like a to-do list, and then like important. And this isn't a custom planner I made. I did get one pre-made through Purple Trail, and it's just a daily, 1 day on a page. And then here is basically all my tasks. So because of the way the company makes the planner, it's split between morning, afternoon, and night, which doesn't help me any because I work during the day. So really morning and afternoon tasks are just work. It has nothing to do with actual time for me. So I went and made my own labels where I put my tasks, and then I put accomplished here. And I'll show you why that's important and how this has really helped me with my time management and getting things done. So over here I'll write the tasks. I usually have 1 or 2 depending on the day. During the week it's always just 1 task, it's sometimes 2 if one of the tasks are small. On the weekend I usually will have 3 to 4. It's usually stuff like, hey, update your inventory, update your financial sheets, stuff. It's a lot of clerical stuff for my business, or even just organizing some files and setting up my new website launch, like little things, right? And those are usually on the weekend. Now, during the week, it can be a little daunting because it feels like I don't get a lot done, because when you work an 8-hour day, which I know a lot of people do, you feel like you get home and you really only have like 2 or 3 hours to get something done. And it's very demotivating when you think of it as I've lost a lot of time or I don't have enough time. So what I've done to make sure that I don't get stuck in that is I've made a section in my planner for that day labeled accomplished, and here I list everything I got done. It doesn't even have to be related to any of my goals. It's just keeping in mind that even though I may have been working or I had other engagements that day or whatever else is going on, maybe I wasn't feeling good, there are still things I did that can be considered accomplishments. And sometimes it's just doing dishes, cleaning up the apartment, putting dishes away, or I researched something. And even if I just researched, like let's say there are some days where all I do is I've researched filament types, right, for 3D products. That's still an accomplishment, even though nothing got done that I can show off. I have gained knowledge on what I was looking up. I have a better idea of the type of filament I might want to use and what the how I can apply it to certain products, how I can use it, or maybe I can't use it. And that research can be really time consuming sometimes. There are days where I feel like I spend hours researching or looking things up, and then the day's just gone, like, oh my god, but it's really important to do that. Like, if maybe you've worked a long day and you're just tired, you don't want to do anything, take even a half hour out of your day to do some research or some Pinterest board making. Make a reference board or save some images for some references. Spend a half hour, and by doing this, my next day, I'll just copy this. Oh my god, I can't make it square. I don't even know why I'm using this selection tool. Alright, so let's say this is day 2 here. Say day 2, day 1. It's another, let's say this was a day I had to work 8 hours, right? We'll say 8-hour work day for a day job. And we'll just say this is a weekend day, right? So now that I have gone from a regular work day to a weekend where I don't have to work, or even just a day I don't have to work, because I know a lot of people work retail and those schedules aren't consistent to weekday only, which I've been there, I get it, you do what you need to do. So I go back to my Trello board, and I take a look at my goals, right? So I look at my yearly goals just to see where I'm at so far. I look at my quarterly goals, and I look at my monthly goals. And the monthly I take a look at, I'm like, okay, well, I've done some research on whatever topic that's related to my monthly goals. So for example, products, if I want to take a look at how big are pencil holders, do people actually buy them, do people actually make them? If I went and researched that on other sellers, then that means for the weekend I can go, yeah, I've researched that, so let's start planning out pencil holders. Pencil holder designs, right? And that day I can start doing a little bit of sketching, and I can even go further and say make 3 sketches. So not only am I able to take this goal of having 5 new products, or brainstorming 5 new products, I have taken that a little bit further, spread out over 2 days, and made sure it was manageable by not overworking myself. Make 3 sketches. And if I get into it and want to make line art for it, make more than 3 sketches, whatever, I am able to live in that moment and go ahead and do it. And if I don't want to do it, and I'm like, you know what, I made 3 sketches, I'm going to move on to the next thing, that's totally fine. And then here under accomplished, if I finish everything, I will normally say finished all tasks here, right? And if I did extra stuff that I wasn't planning on doing that day, like maybe another goal for the month was, let's see, advertise product like twice and schedule 5 videos, you know, stuff like that, right? Maybe if I finish this part of a daily task that applies to this here, awesome, and I look at this, I'm like, you know what, I'm in the mood to start brainstorming or rolling out more ideas for my products or for advertising for the products and scheduling more videos and brainstorming that. If I do more than I expected, I always put it down here, because sometimes there are days where I don't know how I do it, to be honest, but I just get all of it done. And a lot of times it's time-consuming stuff. Like I'll take we'll say product photos done, right? And then maybe I've edited them already, right? And sometimes I'll write this down as I do it. If I already have the page open, and there are days where I'm like, okay, well, I'll take the pictures, I'm done. And then I'm like, you know what, no, let me edit them. And then I continue that and I go, you know what, let me just make the listing, make the draft. And then I'm like, you know what, I can just publish it now. And I've already gotten a ton of stuff done that day. And it's, when you start listing what you've accomplished that day, you kind of realize you're being really hard on yourself for not getting as much done as you thought. And sometimes you may not get a lot done, but it's okay to do that. Like there are days where I'm like, you know what, I didn't do anything. Maybe I wrote some like 200 words in my story, which is like 4 sentences, right? And that's fine. You should also make sure that you're giving yourself some tasks where we'll just go here. You should also be making sure you do things like, oh, play some games, or take a break, or do some gardening, or go for a walk, you know, things like that. Things that aren't necessarily gonna do anything for your goals, but you're making some time for yourself, and you're making sure you're giving yourself breaks. And if there's a day where, even though you had all these plans for the weekend or even the week, you just can't get them done, that's okay. So when I have done all the goals, or even if I don't get all the goals done, because honestly I haven't for a lot of these months, but some of them I have, but I've also made sure that the months that I've been able to get things done, I made sure that my goals are realistic. And the ones where I didn't get things done, I wasn't being realistic. I was putting like 6 to 7 things on here, and it just wasn't feasible. I couldn't get those things done because I wasn't, one, making the daily time for them, but also two, because I couldn't make the daily time for them. It would require me to be working late, to completely sacrifice any free time, and everything else would be neglected, and it's just not good to do that. I mean, it's okay to do that like every once in a while, like sometimes if you're just in the zone, you're like, you know what, this day I'm not gonna do dishes, I'm not gonna clean, I'm just gonna order some food, takeout or whatever. I just gotta get this stuff done. I'm not gonna have anything interfere with it. I'm just really focused. And those days, if that's the mood you're in, you know, there's nothing wrong with that either. Just don't expect them all the time. So yeah, let's say I did get all these done, right? So what I do is I put them in a completed goals list here, or section. And the reason I do that is because then I can make the next month here, so we'll say November, and we can start making the next one. And this is really important because then with all my completed goals, or even if I don't complete them all, really I guess it should be, I don't even know if I should say completed, but I'll find another term for that. When you start stacking them up, even if you don't get everything done, we'll just add 1, 2, 3. Add that. Oops. Even if you only get a few things done out of the month, when you start to see, I'm gonna duplicate this. Copy. And we got all this done. We'll say we'll get that done too. Even though you may not get everything done, when you start looking at how much you did get done, you should be happy with that, you know. And then as the year goes on, when this is all filled up, I'll start comparing it. So I think once or twice a month I'll compare my yearly goals to the completed goals and adjust accordingly. Like some of the things here were related to conventions, which obviously did not happen, so a lot of my yearly goals just aren't gonna happen, and that's fine. They can be pushed to 2021, provided I can actually go to a convention in 2021 if they happen. So that's really how I've been managing my tasks, managing my time, you know, being realistic with how much I'm doing per day, being realistic with how much I know I can handle on a personal level, and really figuring that out. And this is a year-long process for me, so this isn't something I did overnight and figured it out. This is something I did where I had a cheap $5 planner I got at Office Depot last, I want to say July of last year, because it was an academic calendar, so it went from July to July. And I thought, oh, that'll work out just fine because of the way it was laid out. It didn't have any specific time slots. It didn't have anything like that, and that worked for me. It was basically how it's laid out on my screen. The Purple Trail, however, is a little different. It just has, it's very similar, but it has the morning, afternoon, and night, which doesn't apply to me, so I just made some labels for the tasks and accomplished, and it worked. And as time has gone on, I've really adapted to this layout. I've made some changes on utilizing the space that they do. So on some days where I really struggle to get things done, or I struggle to really manage my time, I'll take a look at my tasks here, over here, and I'll look at this and I'll go, well, I obviously overloaded myself, right? I put too much on my plate. I don't think I can get all this done in the day. So I need to start prioritizing everything that's in this section here. So I'll take all of this and I'll say, make 3 sketches is what I want to prioritize, right? And I'll do that 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And by prioritizing it, I'm allowing myself to say, you know what, these are the things that are most important on top, and it's okay if I don't get the things in the bottom done. That can be done another day. So you have to, you're kind of using self-discipline on this as well, and you're also kind of, in a way, having a conversation with yourself of, well, you didn't plan this right, or you way overbooked yourself. How are you going to resolve this? You know, and I don't schedule time slots because I feel like they're restrictive to me. but I do keep in mind how much time of the day I'm going to be spending on the tasks that I'm doing, right? Because I know realistically 8 hours of my day during the weekend is not going to be to all these tasks here. It just doesn't happen. I have other chores I need to do, other things I need to focus on, but keeping in mind that yes, I will have a short amount of time to work on things, I can adapt my schedule. So that way, on day 3, those three sketches, I can start refining. And then on day 4, I can be like, well, I can start taking one of those sketches and making it into 3D. And then I can do a sketch in 3D and do a little bit each day. Because what I used to do, I'll just say this. Don't say, let's see. If I have my sketch, make model. Okay, don't make it very vague like that, because what you're doing is you're gonna start looking at yourself and going, well, I made the model, but how much am I making? So I'll say things like start shapes for 3D model. And sometimes I literally will spend a half hour in 3D and then be like, okay, I did that, I'm gonna put that away for now, you know, because if I start to think too far ahead of the game, it can be overwhelming. And if you're doing something you don't normally do, if you don't step back often enough, you're not allowing yourself to ease into it. You know, some people are successful and just throwing themselves into it and calling it a day, but some people like me need to kind of ease into it a little bit. Like, alright, I did this step, I'm gonna leave it be, you know, and go on to the next thing. Or if I'm in the mood, I'll continue it. But that's on busy days, and when you work 8 hours a day, that's what you have to do. You have to do baby steps, right? So yeah. And last but not least, I know that it's all time management stuff in terms of how to organize and plan and everything, but I also want to say that it's really important to stretch and get up and stuff like that. So I am now adding or changing this important section here in my planner. I'm using that to make sure I stretch two times a day. You know, it doesn't even have to be like, oh, I'm stretching for an hour or doing weird yoga poses. Just stretch your arms for like 5-10 minutes, you know, get up, do something like that. Stretch twice a day. And yeah, so hopefully this video was helpful and gave you an idea of how to manage your own time, or at least start structuring it, and how to plan for your stuff in a way that's meaningful to you, in a way that works for you, in a way that allows you to be flexible with yourself, and in a way to basically forgive yourself for not looking or feeling as successful as you think everybody else is. Alright, so yeah, if you have any questions or comments below, or you want, like, I'm not like the best productivity person, but if you do want other tips or any other like videos of me sharing how I get things done and plan it, let me know, and I'll leave them in the comment, or I'll make another video on it. And as always, if you have questions or you have comments about the video, share them down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for future content, and I will see you guys in the next video.